We're back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sponsored Content. I am your host. Today on Spawn Storytime, we will be covering Spawn issue number 16. Before that, let's recap real quickly issue number 15. In issue number 15, we see the conclusion to the Violator's tale of lies, in which he is describing a victory that he achieved over medieval Spawn. However, if you have followed this story, you know that the opposite is true. Essentially, medieval Spawn decapitates the Violator and sends him back to hell, and the medieval Spawn's mother sees that he's a whole-ass baked potato. She wants nothing to do with him, so she runs away, leaving Spawn sort of in his feelings, emotional, and sort of crying. We also see that in present day, Spawn has taken to defending the alleyway against everyone. He's really not putting up with anyone's shit anymore at all. So he's kind of staked out the alleyway at Spawn territory just for him and his boys. And moving forward into issue number 16, we will take a look at the cover. Again, in issue 16, we will see a transition in art with Greg Capullo taking over pencils for the cover and the interior. We also introduce guest writer Grant Morrison, who many of you may know from various capacities with work such as Doom Patrol, Batman, and maybe Justice League of America. I really don't know much about Grant Morrison, my apologies, but he will be writing the next 3 issues, and Greg Capullo has taken over the art. We can see here on this cover, pretty sweet depiction of Spawn, sort of brewing up a green power hand here, looking pretty fierce and menacing. This is only the second time that we've actually seen Spawn without his mask on a cover. And this Greg Capullo's take here showing Spawn in a little bit more sinister light. Let's get into issue 16. We start issue 16 with a group of soldiers down in sort of a picturesque setting, so to speak. We gather from text on this page that Major Vale, who is a high-ranking military officer, is kind of observing what's going on here. We see these 2 soldiers discussing the fact that they're a little freaked out. This place has sort of like a weird vibe. It's kind of like Disneyland, where, you know, things are just sort of out of place and like random and kind of like fantastical but creepy. And then we see like the ground start to crack open. Welcome to Simmonsville, Major Vale, our very own little piece of hell on earth. And we see in this page 2 giant-ass Fleabiac brothers, maybe, or other Hell's minions, pop out of the ground. We see the soldiers like, oh my god. And on the next page, as the soldiers are fighting off the Fleabiac attack, this gentleman's getting his eyes straight poked out in a really gruesome fashion. We learned that approximately 5 years ago, the military was conducting a routine atom bomb test in the ground in Nevada. And basically what they did was they discovered what they thought was another dimension, sort of a portal to another world. They quickly learned that this was actually a portal to hell. So if you've seen any sci-fi, you know, in the last 50 years, you probably are familiar with the concept of a doorway to hell being found on Earth. So that's what we've done here. We don't really know if that's a direct result of the atom bomb test. Maybe this portal's been here forever. Maybe that's how Barbara Streisand got here. But we also learned that in hell there is a substance, a very powerful substance. It's called psychoplasm. It's an unknown substance to our world. But basically it's affected by a person's mental state. So like whatever your desires are, your fears, you know, your kinks, your freaks, your fetishes, like anything in your mind, you know, this psychoplasm can manifest that. So with these guys thinking that maybe they're on drugs and that these are hallucinations, but you know, sorry about you, that's not really the case. They're really getting their eyes poked out. We see a continuation of this brutal attack on these soldiers from Hell's army. You know, the military is ultimately just really interested in obtaining this psychoplasm. This looks like maybe a weapon. You know, they could weaponize this and try to conquer the world or whatever the army's up to. But we learned that Al Simmons is involved here, and that Al Simmons was actually traded in a way. So Al Simmons was a badass soldier. He'd kind of gone soft, maybe because he was trying to procreate. If you were like an expecting father ever, you know that can be kind of stressful. So like his mind was elsewhere. His boss is like, we have this doorway to hell. You know, I'm gonna make a call down there. He picks up his cell phone. I guess he calls like 666, and he gets a hold of the devil. So they set up like an exchange. So Hell's like, yeah, we've been looking at Al Simmons already. We've been wanting to draft him. You know, we need him on our team. So this person's like, all right, I will trade you Al Simmons' soul for psychoplasm. Like, let's make a deal. Let's make a trade. So that happens. So Simmonsville is a town that is built entirely of psychoplasm. It is a giant military experiment of sorts, and this town built on Al's memories, all of the things that were in Al's mind when he was sent to hell. They are now being collected and reflected in the in psychoplasm in the town called Simmonsville, which is essentially a town sitting on top of a doorway to hell, composed of hellish substance that makes everything, freakish and crazy. On the next page, we finally learn that the person who's narrating the scene is none other than Jason Wynn. He's sitting here talking to Major Vale. They're discussing the nature of psychoplasm and Simmonsville, and basically Jason wants Major Vale to incorporate psychoplasm into his military strategy. I'm not really sure why actually Jason's not talking to a general or someone maybe a little higher up, but Major Vale is a little bit skeptical of this. It's like a little overwhelming. He's not really sure how to deal with this. So Jason Wynn's like, look, I got to get my workout on. I need to get sweaty and pump some iron. So I'm going to go do that. And why don't you just get back to me a little bit later in an hour or two once you've kind of processed what you've just seen, and let me know if you're down to make a deal. We cut to New York City, and high above a maze of dingy, rain-swept alleyways, the Spawn broods. We see a really awesome shot of Spawn in the rain. I don't know if Todd McFarlane brought us Spawn in the rain, but certainly it looks very cool here in the Capullo style. Spawn reflects on his situation yet again. Basically, I got shafted, I went to hell. I made a deal, I got shafted, I came back. I got a whole lot of grief, a whole lot of pain. I don't know shit, I have a ton of questions. Spawn, basically says his face looks like a stale pizza. That's some of the best self-reflection that we've got in this series so far. But he just goes on and on about needing answers to questions, trying to figure out what this situation is with all the angels and demons and everything running around New York City. And he doesn't know what he is. Still, after all this, he's just really not sure, what he is actually composed of. So that's maybe his next mission. He finds out more and more every day, but he still is just not sure. So he now knows that Chapel is the one that pulled the trigger, and that's where he had been directing all of his anger, in the issues prior to the Violators' wild tale. But now he's pulling back, and he's like, who even set me up? Who actually sent me to hell? Because Chapel killed me, but, Chapel, he's a pretty good soldier, so he had to be given orders, right? So now I'm kind of mad at this person again. And now he's like, but if I'm really dead, then, how am I walking around? What am I walking around in? What's my body made of? Who do they bury? If they buried Al Simmons, maybe he's in the grave somewhere. So Spawn wants to go check that out. And on his way to his gravesite, I guess, he basically wants to let off a little steam in the sort of way that Spawn does best, which is kind of being violent. So we see in the next couple of panels a bum hanging out in the alleyway there, and a couple of lowlifes who appear like they're there to cause him some harm. It looks like they're going to do burn a bum, and they want to set him on fire. So that's pretty awful. On the next page, we can see that as they get ready to do this, they say, look, buddy, you're going to burn in hell. And then Spawn rolls up right behind him. And he's like, you really want to talk about hell, buddy? He's like, let's fucking talk. This dude's like, holy shit, it's this dude. It's the Spawn, the spook. He says, blow him away, Bernie. Bernie pulls out his 1911 and he's about to shoot Spawn. But Spawn grabs his hand and he's like, oh my gosh, my hand. Spawn's like, Bernie's busy right now. You want to take a shot? And he sort of throws this dude, into the wall. He's got Bernie, he's crushing his hand, breaking all of his bones in his hand. Bernie's puking, of course, because this is excruciating pain. Spawn's like, I don't even need to use my powers to deal with scumbags like you. And this guy's like, dude, we were just joking around. We weren't really going to do anything. Spawn's basically bullshit. I told you in the last issue that I was going to start to come hard. Don't come to my alley. I've been trying to send the message. I don't know how you're not getting it. Don't come down here. Spawn's like, look, I'm real sorry about going ham on these dudes in front of you and whatnot. But, I'm pretty pissed off and I didn't want them to harm you. And he's like, yeah, okay, I get that. So he's basically keep out of trouble, and I'm going to keep on keeping on my mission to pretty much go dig up my grave. In Midtown Manhattan, in a mere-walled building with no name and no number, probably crosses on the top, we're back at sort of Heaven HQ, or at least this region's heavenly office. If you recall, just a little while ago, somebody in the military was phoning the devil in hell. So that's kind of a thing. And now with the angels, they had an envoy in hell, and they've kind of been displaced, kind of due to the conflict that's going on. So things are kind of heating up. So we see Gabrielle here. She is in charge of this heavenly tower at the moment. She's basically we've received new orders from upstairs, and this Hellspawn, the new Hellspawn that kind of whooped Angela's ass, do you remember? She's like, yeah, well, he's extra special. He's really dangerous. It's a big problem. So Heaven proper has given us the authority to fire up our orbital angel station And they use this to create a soldier of their own making. This soldier, their mission is to destroy Spawn. This other lady named Michaela, Gabrielle's like, look, we have work to do. We got to get this Angel Station up and running because we're going to create like a heavenly soldier to go down to Earth and to fight Spawn on our behalf, because Angela wasn't really cutting it. And I guess that we have more tools at our disposal. So we zoom out to the orbital Angel Station outside of Earth. We see a conversation regarding the soldier that Heaven is going to create in order to battle Spawn. The way that they do this is pretty similar to Hell, insofar as they're going to obtain a human subject from Earth, and they're going to imbue them with the powers of Heaven. So it's basically like what they do with Spawn in a way, but Heaven is going to do this with someone else. So they're like, we have selected somebody. We have somebody who is going to be capable, to receive this elemental fire. We have selected this subject, and I'm about to bring him up. So they pre-selected someone that they're going to turn into this heavenly soldier. And on the next page, in a scene sort of like from the movie Three Ninjas, we see Jason Wynn, who has now assumed the appearance of Steven Seagal. He is doing his workout. So he's ready. He's got some, Foot Clan ninjas sort of jumping down at him. He's doing a bit of training, maybe. He keeps whooping these dudes' asses. He's in control here. I don't know if this is a simulation or if these guys are actually real, but Jason Wynn kind of walks away. He's like, I'm done training. I got my workout in. You guys are pretty much ass. So, you're toast. You're fired. We see the heavenly agents here activating their transference, and Jason Wynn appears to get sort of sucked into a goo in a light emanating from the orbital space station, and he gets zapped straight away. So he is now in a space station. He doesn't know how he got there. He's obviously pissed. He thinks he still has like a lot of power and stuff. And with his dealings with Hell, he's probably thinking this has something to do with them. They're like, yo, we do not serve the Malebolgia. We are servants of a higher power from the Great North. Jason Wynn wants to get all like, you don't even know who I am, like they even care. And then he's getting transferred with the elemental fire that will be necessary to turn him into a heavenly soldier. So he's in excruciating pain. He's receiving this fire. It's burning. God help him. It's burning. He can barely take it. And now we're back at the graveyard on Spawn's mission to locate the gravesite of Al Simmons. He's kind of scared. He knows he needs to do this. So he starts to dig up his grave. He pulls back the lid of his coffin. He thinks he knows what he will find, and sure enough, he's like, no! That's my face. That's my dead-ass face. And I smell really bad. There's probably worms in me and stuff. It's probably really traumatizing to find your own dead body with all these questions that you have. So he's still like got answers, but yet again, more questions. So he's holding himself sort of in this really awesome shot where he's screaming, what have you done to me? He's looking ultra baked potato right now. And on our next page, now we see Jason Wynn sort of still complaining about the pain, like asking, what have you done to me? They say their work is finished. He's looking pretty sweet and golden, back to his buff physique, and a little less like Steven Seagal. They say, you are our creature now. We have made you strong and so terrible. You can go back to Earth. You can fight the Hell Spawn. By the way, you're like not really human anymore. So rise up, be born again, you soldier of the light. On our last page, we get an epic shot, Anti-Spawn, the antithesis of Spawn. A heavenly soldier created from the human body of Jason Wynn. He's a soldier of the light. He is the Anti-Spawn, and he's looking pretty awesome. He's looking really badass in this shot. Anti-Spawn, thanks to Greg Capullo and Grant Morrison. In our next episode, on the next issue, we will explore this storyline further. Next up, we will continue with the creation of the Anti-Spawn in his battle against Spawn. We see next, Malebolgia will be involved to some degree. So this has been sponsored content with another episode of Spawn Storytime. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again.
Boom Jack 11.